Hey Everdoony, welcome back to the channel. If you've ever been ready for a perfect day on the water, only to have your jet ski or outboard refuse to start, or worse, stall out and leave you stranded, then this video is for you. One of the most common culprits behind this frustrating problem is error code P0335. Today, we're going to break down exactly what that code means, what symptoms to look for, and most importantly, how to fix it yourself and get back on the water fast. So, what is P0335? In simple terms, it stands for Crankshaft Position Sensor Circuit Malfunction. This means your engine's computer, the ECU, isn't getting a signal from the crankshaft position sensor, or CKP sensor for short. Think of the CKP sensor as the engine's heartbeat monitor. It tells the ECU how fast the crankshaft is spinning and exactly what position it's in. This information is absolutely critical for the ECU to time the spark plugs and fuel injectors correctly. Without this signal, the ECU is flying blind. It doesn't know when to fire the spark plugs or when to inject fuel, so it either won't start the engine at all, or it will shut it down as a safety measure. The most obvious symptoms are a no-start condition or an engine that starts for a moment and then immediately stalls. You might crank the engine, and it just turns over and over without ever firing up. Or you could be cruising along, and suddenly the engine cuts out completely and won't restart. You'll likely see a check engine light or a warning message on your display as well. It's a real day ruiner. But don't worry, the fix is often straightforward. Now for the fun part, finding and fixing the problem. The first step is to locate the crankshaft position sensor. On most jet skis and outboards, you'll find it mounted on the engine block, very close to the flywheel or the stator cover. You're looking for a small sensor, usually black plastic, with a wire coming out of it, positioned right next to the teeth of the flywheel or a reluctor wheel. You may need to remove a plastic cover or two to get a clear view. Once you've found it, your first inspection is simple. Carefully unbolt the sensor and pull it out. The tip of the sensor is magnetic, so it can attract tiny metal shavings and debris from inside the engine. Over time, this buildup can interfere with the sensor's ability to read the crankshaft's rotation. If you see a fuzzy collection of metallic dust on the tip, you're in luck. This is often the whole problem. Just take a clean, dry rag and wipe it. Completely clean. Make sure the tip is spotless before you reinstall it. If the sensor was clean or cleaning, it didn't solve the issue. The next step is to inspect the wiring. This is a common failure point, especially in a harsh marine environment. Follow the wire from the sensor back to the main wiring harness. Look for any signs of damage. Are there any breaks, cuts, or abrasions in the insulation? Check for corrosion in the connector plug. Salt water is brutal on electrical connections. Unplug the connector and look for any green or white, crusty buildup on the pins. If you find any, use some electrical contact cleaner to clean it out thoroughly. Also, give the wires a gentle tug to make sure they are secure in the connector and have U-end pulled loose. If the sensor tip is clean and the wiring looks perfect, it's possible the sensor itself has failed internally. At this point, you'll need a multimeter to test it. You can test for resistance across the sensor's pins, but the most reliable test is a no-signal test while cranking the engine. You would check for an AC voltage signal coming from the sensor as the engine turns over. If you don't have a multimeter or aren't comfortable using one, don't worry. Given that these sensors aren't typically very expensive, sometimes the easiest path is to simply replace it with a new one, especially if your engine has a lot of hours on it. It's a common wear. So, to recap, P0335 means no signal from the crankshaft sensor. Check for a dirty sensor tip. Inspect all the wiring and connectors for damage or corrosion. And if all else fails, replace the sensor. Following these steps will solve the problem in the vast majority of cases. I hope this guide helps you diagnose and fix that pesky P0335 code. Getting your hands dirty and solving these problems yourself is not only rewarding, but it saves you a ton of money and time lost at a repair shop. If this video helped you out, please give it a thumbs up, and consider subscribing for more DIY tips and tricks for your marine engines. Drop a comment below if you've ever dealt with this code yourself. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.